know we don't have that time, but all I wanted to tell you is that I wanted to remind you about what we looked at last week. So all of this information we looked at last week, all of this one here, so we may not actually explain or go back and look at each individual point. Now today, we are going to look at reasons why the NANDI rebellion took so long. And then we'll also look at another subheading and another subheading today. So we are beginning with why the NANDI rebellion took so long. Now, before I give you my points here, so I believe you also have some information there. So if you have some of the answers to this subheading, you can raise up your hand and then you give us your contribution. So if you are there and you've got some information, you can raise up your hand and then you give us your contribution about reasons why the rebellion took so long. So I don't know whether there is anyone who is willing to contribute. Okay, yes, I have Tracy, you can unmute. Tracy, hope, yes.
The topography of the area was unsuitable for the maximum gun used by the British soldiers.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. The geography, the area wasn't good. The area was not suitable for the maximum gun. Okay. Yes, that is right. I have JB here. You can unmute yourself. JB, unmute yourself and give us a contribution. Yes, JB. I can see you unmuted, but there is nothing coming out. Okay, moving over to someone else. I have Donald. You can unmute yourself. Okay, JB again. JB, okay, JB. JB is not saying anything. Okay. Donald, Donald, I think. Donald, okay, Donald. I think Donald has issues. Okay, Donald. Donald. Sorry, Donald, you are breaking. We will not have that contribution. Okay, I have Joshua. Joshua, unmute. Joshua. Joshua, unmute and give us your contribution. Okay, I think Joshua. I have, okay. Yes.
Teacher.
Yes.
Yes, the NANDI had strong armies which helped in fighting in the rebellion.
Yes, that is good. Thank you so much. The NANDI had a strong army. Indeed, they had a very strong army that helped them in the fight against the British. I have Mariam. Unmute yourself. Mariam, unmute and give us your contribution.
The NANDI area was hilly, so it was an advantage to the NANDI as they went to the hills after attacking the British, and it was a disadvantage to the British maximum gun.
Oh, okay, thank you, but that is maximum. It is not maximum, maximum. It is maximum gun, not maximum.
Yeah, maximum. It's maximum gun.
Yes, okay. Thank you so much for that contribution. We are saying that the area was hilly. That is true. It was hilly and it was not actually good for the maximum gun, because with the gun, you need to be seeing someone, but when someone hides behind the mountain, it becomes hard for someone with a gun. I have Dr. Alex. Alexi. Yes, Alex, unmute. Alex, unmute yourself and give us a contribution. I think Alex cannot unmute. Okay, I've gone to, this is Kemigisha. Okay, Kemigisha, unmute.
The Nandi were determined to fight till the last man.
Okay, thank you. The point is determination. That is true. These people were determined, and that determination, made them fight for such a long time. Actually, they fought for 11 years. They fought for 11 years. I have Mwevesa Derek. Yes, unmute yourself and give us your contribution, Mwevesa.
The Nandi fought because they did not want to see strangers passing through their land.
Sorry, Mwevesa, I've not heard you clearly.
They fought because they did not want to see strangers passing through their land.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. They never wanted to see strangers passing through their land. Yes, there is Fahia. Fahia, unmute.
The Nandi were so proud of their background, and thus they could not imagine themselves being humiliated.
Yes, thank you so much. They were proud. They were like, we are a stronger society. We cannot just sit and look at this for, fighting. Okay. We have, there is Mariam. Mariam, unmute. Mariam, unmute.
The fertile Nandi land always provided enough food for the Nandi fighters.
Okay, thank you. They had enough food. And because they had enough food, they could not waste any time looking for food. So simply because they had food, it worked as an advantage to these people. They kept on fighting. Thank you. I have Hope you can, yes.
The cutting of telecommunication lines and constant raids hindered transportation of British troops.
Okay, thank you. The cutting of communication lines. Yes, that is another point, and it is right.
Transportation of British troops.
Yes, that is true. That is true. I've already picked that. We have gone to Becky now. Becky, unmute.
The Nandi did not have strong defensive points that would have been good targets for British superior guns.
Yes, thank you. That the Nandi never had military bases that would have been the target of the British. That is very true. They didn't have these bases, and of course, it was a little bit hard for the British to have them. They were fighting in different societies. I mean, they had different. What can I like? They were fighting in different companies. Actually, that is the right word to use. Then I have Amumpaire. You can unmute.
The British troops did not know the geography of the Nandi land, thus prolonged war between the Nandi and the British warriors.
Yes, thank you so much. The geography was again another problem to the British, the geography of the area. So, and it was an advantage to the Nandi, and it prolonged the fight between the Nandi and the British. I have Davis Mulungi. Unmute, Davis.
Yes, sir. Both the Nandi and the British were not ready to be defeated.
Okay, that is, we can take it under determination. Thank you. They were not ready to be defeated. They were determined to keep or protect their independence. I have, okay, so many hands up. I'm just about to, okay, Aaron, unmute. Aaron, unmute yourself. Yes, Aaron. Okay.
Both groups had strong leaders.
Okay, thank you. They had strong leaders. That is true. And of course, it was after the killing of that strong leader, Okoyoti Koitarel, that the Nandi were defeated. Okay, so many hands are up, and we need to. Okay, I think let me. Okay, Tendo. Tendo, unmute. Tendo, unmute. I think Tendo has issues here. Then I have Rebecca, Sheila Rebecca, unmute.
The presence of blacksmith among the Nandi.
Sorry, the presence of
Blacksmith.
okay. Okay, yes, I've got you. I think you are talking about superstitions, something like that. Okay, yeah, it also to an extent worked anyway. So many people have here. Okay, these other people should lower their hands because I've already given you an opportunity to contribute. You lower your hands. Okay. Thank you. Now we've gone to our information. Thank you for the contribution. It was really wonderful. So let me give you what I also have here. And this is reason number one. We are talking about the environmental advantage. Someone has already talked about this. It was a mountainous area, okay, with steep and heavily wooded valleys, which was ideal for guerrilla warfare. You understand, guerrilla warfare, the hit and run tactics. You can come and hit and then you disappear, hiding in the forests, under the mountains and all that. So someone has already talked about that. Then we've got this other point, that the same environment was unsuitable for the British Maxim gun that they used. Yes, the same environment was not good for the British Maxim gun. With a gun, you need to be seeing someone and you shoot, okay? You have to be seeing someone, but when someone hides behind a mountain under a tree or something, of course, it becomes hard for someone with a gun. We have this other point here, that the wet and cold climate caused the respiratory infections among the British forces and so weakened them. Yes, we are talking about the wet and cold climate. And this brought about what we call respiratory infections. So they could not breathe well and all that, and most of them were even dying. So this was an advantage to the Nandi. I also have this, the Nandi practiced mixed economy, which reduced the effect of crop burning by the British as they lived on their livestock, okay? So we are talking about a mixed economy, where we are looking at these people living on their livestock after the burning of their crops, okay? So this was an advantage to the Nandi, and they fought for so long. A moment, please, a moment. Yes, okay. So the point was the Nandi practice team, a mixed economy, that one we have gone through. Then there is the mobility of the British expeditions was reduced by the large number of porters who had to carry food. So we are talking about the large number of porters. Of course, the British had these porters who were carrying food. And of course, people who were carrying could not be fast enough. So like they could not be fast, and it was a little bit hard for them to fight effectively, okay? Because they could wait for the people who were carrying their food and all that. Then we have this other point here, that the Nandi had a highly disciplined and efficient army, which had experience of warfare against the Maasai and other neighbors. Yes, we are looking at experience now. we are looking at the NANDI who were fighting their neighbors for quite some time, in the wars of conquest. So they had that experience. It is the same experience they used against him, the British, and that is the reason why they were in position to fight for so many years, 11 years fighting, resisting colonialism. There is the experience, we are saying the experience made that NANDI put up a strong resistance against the Sudanese soldiers who were employed by the British to fight them. Yes, for your information, the British in most cases used the Sudanese in fighting against other African resistors. We've seen, there was a time when the British used the same Sudanese to fight the South Africans. Remember, the British colonized most of the countries from South Africa, East Africa, North Africa, and whenever they were fighting, they could employ the Sudanese. They also at the time also employed the Baganda, against the NANDI. So the thing is, the NANDI were experienced, so they used this experience to fight against the British, and that is why the resistance took so long. Then there is this one here. The NANDI had good military tactics that involved the night fighting and ambushes for which the British were unprepared. Let me first look at this for whose hands are up. Okay, I think they have okay, they have lowered their hands. So I am now moving over. Okay, a moment, let me look at okay, some people were actually contributing in the chat here. The NANDI had modern weapons. Yes, this is very true. Okay, someone actually has given us a point through the chat here. Thank you. So we are looking at this point here that it talks about the military tactics, like fighting at night. The NANDI could come and fight at night against him, the British. And the British, of course, at night, some of them were, if not all, were sleeping, and then they could be attacked by the NANDI. So we call them surprise attacks. And these ones, they prolonged the resistance against the British. We have this other point here, that the NANDI have defensive strong points. The NANDI didn't have defensive strong points that would have been good targets for the British guns. Yes, I remember someone mentioned this point, that they didn't have good targets, like they did not have bases which would have been targets for the British guns, and this also prolonged the resistance. Then we have the NANDI fought in separate companies according to their clans and residences, and therefore defeating them was not easy. Yes, the NANDI, of course, we are saying fought in different companies. You couldn't have one group like it is one group attacking. No, they were fighting in different companies according to their clans and residences. You could find a group, assuming, let me use this example, assuming we are talking about Uganda, you could find a group in Masaka, another group in Iganga, another group in Toro, another group, you understand? So, like it, because I understand Uganda better than Kenya. So, we are saying they were fighting in different companies, and it was a bit hard for the British to have them defeated at once. We have this other statement here, which goes that while fighting, in case one company was destroyed, the struggle would continue for other companies, hence prolonged the war. Hence prolonged the war. So we are saying that while fighting, in case one company was defeated, then there was another company fighting. You understand? If you defeat this company, then there is another one fighting. At the end of the day, it became a little bit hard for the British to defeat the NANDI at once. I thought some people had put up. Okay, I have okay, Nancha. Nachema Tendo. Tendo, okay. Tendo, unmute. Tendo. Tendo, I can see your hand up. Unmute and then give us your contribution. Tendo?
Sir, my answer was mentioned.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, then I have Derek. Derek, unmute.
Had enough. The NANDI had enough food.
Sorry?
Which would sustain the war for a long. The NANDI had enough food which could sustain the war for a long period of time.
Okay, thank you. They had enough food. Yes, that is another good point someone has given us. Then I have Treasure. Unmute. Treasure. Mr. Treasure, unmute. I think, okay. I have Becky. Becky, unmute.
Teacher,
Give us your contribution.
I'm asking, why of all people the
Yes.
Sudanese? Why the Sudanese?
Oh, okay, okay. Now, Becky, not only the Sudanese were used by the British. I also talked about Uganda, here in Uganda. You understand? So most of these people could be used simply because the British had already conquered only the Sudanese. But in most cases, they use the Sudanese. I think these people, I think, are strong. You can see them. They are naturally strong. I think that is the reason why. Of course, I'm talking about people from the South Sudan. Okay, most of them are giants. You can see. I think that is one of the reasons why they were using the Sudanese. But I've already told you, not only the Sudanese, even the Baganda here and so many other tribes were being used by the British. Okay. I have Gifty Monique. Gifty, unmute yourself. Gifty, unmute yourself. Okay, I think Gifty cannot unmute. I have Hope. Hope, unmute yourself. Okay. Let me first. Gift first. Okay, Gifty.
Yes, Master. My
Gifty?
contribution is Master.
Yes.
My contribution is
Yes.
that the NANDI were united.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that contribution. She's talking about unity, and indeed, unity is another factor that prolonged the resistance. Thank you so much. I have Hope now. Hope, unmute.
Okay,
Yes.
The British underestimated the strength of the NANDI, which was misleading.
Yes, thank you for that contribution. Thank you for that contribution. The British underestimated the strength of the NANDI. It is very true. Okay. Then Davis, unmute.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
May I have a question?
Yes.
Who replaced the leader of the NANDI after he was shot dead?
Who replaced the leader? I'm not so sure. I will first go and make research about that. I'm not so sure because I didn't go into that. You know, when we are teaching, sometimes, sometimes we don't go beyond the boundaries, but I will try to find out. Okay. Then there is Mwevesa Derek. Unmute.
The NANDI did not have votes that could be targeted by the British.
Sorry, the NANDI didn't. I've not got it clearly.
The NANDI didn't have votes that could be targeted by the British.
Unfortunately, didn't have goods, something like that. Didn't have what?
Votes and persons.
Okay. Then I have Beatrice here. Beatrice, unmute yourself, Beatrice. Okay, Beatrice, can you unmute yourself? I think Beatrice cannot. Now, okay, I think some people have already contributed. In the interest of time, let me try to, go through these other points that we have not seen, and then we'll look at another subheading. Okay, I will come back for you people whose hands are up. Then we have this other point here, that the NANDI manufactured their own weapons, okay? Such as arrows, spears, and there was a constant supply of ammunition. That is why these people kept on resisting the British for so long. Then we have this one here, that the NANDI also acquired modern weapons such as guns from the Arabs through trade, which boosted the resistance. Yes, someone talked about this point here, that they had modern weapons such as guns, though the guns were not so many. Yes, they had a few, and they used them also in their fight. That's why the resistance took so long. There is the NANDI didn't suffer from adversities such as famine, diseases, etc. Unlike many other African societies, yes, these ones were not so much affected by the diseases, by famine. They had their food, okay? The moment their crops were burnt down, then they depended on their livestock. So they did not actually suffer a lot, and that is why they staged such a strong resistance against the British. So we have the British underestimated the strength of the NANDI forces. Someone has mentioned this, that the British underestimated the strength of the NANDI forces. They at first sent small expeditions that the NANDI easily crushed. Yes. We have already seen that point. We are not wasting any more time there. The NANDI were highly determined to fight and defend their country and independence. So the point is determination. And someone has already talked about this point, determination. Okay? So the NANDI were determined, and the determination worked in their favor. There is the British lacked geographical knowledge of the areas compared to the NANDI, who are well versed. Yes, someone also brought this point, okay, that the geographical knowledge, actually the British never had the geographical knowledge of the area, and it so much affected them, and it worked in favor of the NANDI. So the cutting of communication lines, someone also mentioned this, yes, and rails greatly hindered him transport and reinforcement of the British troops, cutting off communication lines. Yes, even the steel that they were using for constructing the railway line could be stolen by the NANDI. You understand? And this was affecting the movement of the British troops. We have this other point here, that the NANDI had good leaders, especially Okoyot, Koitarero, Arap Samoei. Yes, good leaders is another factor that greatly contributed. Okay, I can see Derek, animate and give us your contribution. Derek.
The NANDI used tactics like night attacks to took the British by surprise.
Okay, thank you, Derek. Night fightings. Yes, we talked about that. We talked about that trick of attacking the British at night. Then Massey, animate yourself. Okay, I think Massey has lowered down. Okay. Okay. Yes, we have this other point here. Okay. I think yes. Our last point there was the NANDI. That the NANDI had good leaders. Yes, that is our last point there. And we are talking about Okoyot, Koitarero, Arap Samoei, and this man was instrumental in the resistance that was staged by the NANDI. Okay, there is nothing much in the chat. Okay, now we are moving over to this other subheading. I've already told you that today we've got 2 subheadings. So the other one was why the resistance took so long, but now this is why the NANDI resistance Okay, we are now saying why the NAND resistance later failed. I think you can see that is our subheading there. Why the NAND resistance later failed. Remember, first of all, we've been looking at why it took so long. It was not why they were not defeated. No, we are looking at why it took so long. But finally, they were defeated after 11 years of resistance. Okay, so we need to know why finally these people were defeated. Okay. I can get some of I think some people have got some. Okay, Halima, unmute. Halima, yes.
The NANDI were finally defeated because of the long period of drought.
Yes, thank you so much. Here, Halima has given us drought as a point. Drought, of course, affected them so much. Their livestock had to die and so many other things. And at the end of the day, yes, the NANDI were defeated. Baguma, unmute. Baguma, unmute.
Yes. Constant attacks by the British and other tribes which weakened the NANDI.
Yes, thank you. Constant attacks. The NANDI could be constantly attacked by the British, by the people that supported the British, the Sudanese, and so many other tribes that collaborated with the British, finally contributed to their defeat. Mwebesa, Derek?
The NANDI were defeated because they believed in superstition, such as they believed in small gods, which could not work against the British.
Yes, thank you. That point is a good point. Superstition, that these people, were ever believing in that, and at the end of the day, the British were seriously, fighting them. And these ones were like, our ancestors are going to protect us and all that. So that is why finally they were defeated. Okay, William, unmute yourself. William, waiting for you. I think William, okay. Then I have Donald, unmute yourself. Sorry, Donald. We've not heard you clearly, Donald. I think Donald is talking about army, something like that. Yeah, I think powerful army. Yeah, thank you for that contribution. Then I have Henry. Unmute yourself, Henry.
The NANDI, the war fatigue, the NANDI were exhausted.
Yes, thank you for that. Fatigue, they were exhausted. That is a very good point. I have Michael. Unmute yourself.
The British used a scorched earth policy, thereby banning their crops, leading to famine. Yes,
thank you so much. The earth scorched policy, a policy of destroying everything, cutting down and burning their food granaries, the crops and everything. And this, of course, contributed or weakened the NANDI, and then they were finally defeated. Joshua, unmute yourself.
Teacher, the British had military weapons, unlike the NANDI who used spears and axes.
Yes, thank you for that, Joshua. The NANDI were using spears, were using arrows, but the British had guns, the Maxim gun and so many other types of guns. So it is the guns that finally led to the defeat of the NANDI. Becky, unmute yourself.
Lack of better organization, e.g., they fought in clans and places of residence with no commander.
Okay, thank you, Becky. They were not organized. They were not organized. They had different leaders, clan leaders, you know, and they didn't have that solid resistance they would have put if they were organized. Okay, thank you. Then Eloni, unmute.
The Nandi were disunited.
Yes, thank you for that. The Nandi were disunited. There was no unity. Okay, yes, to an extent, yes, we can say that. Okay, then I have Martha. Martha, unmute.
The Nandi lacked support from their neighbors like the Maasai and the Luo.
Yes, thank you so much. These other neighbors could just look at the Nandi, you know, they did not come up to assist them. Otherwise, if they worked together, if they helped them, maybe they would have defeated the British, okay? Then I have Halima. Unmute Halima.
The Nandi had support from their neighbor, Igi the Maasai, who looked at them as their enemies.
Yes, thank you for that. It is, of course, what we've been talking about. They could not be helped by the neighbors. They could see each other as enemies, and that contributed to their defeat. Finally, I have Gift, unmute yourself.
Outbreak of epidemic diseases like smallpox, which weakened the Nandis.
Yes, thank you. Diseases weakened the Nandi, and they were easily defeated by the British at last. Okay, then I have Mavini.
Death of their charismatic leader demoralized them.
Yes, thank you so much. The death of their charismatic leader, Samoi Koitarel Arab. You understand? That man was a charismatic leader. So the moment he was killed by the British, it weakened Nandi. Then I have Mariam. Mariam, your contribution.
Then the belief of the Nandi that their gods would help them also made them be defeated.
Yes, thank you. That is superstition, believing in the ancestors, that maybe the ancestors are there for us. That was a great mistake for the made by the Nandi, and it contributed to their defeat. So I think some other people have already contributed. You have to lower your hands because we don't have time. I may not pick you again. I have Richard. Yes, Richard. Okay, if Richard is not actually giving us a point, then I have Nelson. Unmute yourself, Nelson.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes, please.
I don't know if I'm in the right class. Am I in senior one? Sorry to disturb.
No, this is senior 3. Okay. Hope, unmute. Hope, unmute. Okay. I can see people's hands up, but we don't have time. Let me try to. I will be back when we are done. Let me also give you what I have here. Let me give you what I have and thank you. Okay, I think someone is talking. Okay, let me pass this. I think Tracy. Okay, Tracy, we are saying something. Yes, Tracy, we are listening to you.
The Nandi, with time, were hit by droughts that led to famine and weakened them.
Okay, thank you. Drought. Yeah, that point has been it has been given. Okay, let us try to now look at what I also have for you. There is that one there. And it begins, actually, it is one of our introduction here. So it says that though the NANDI resistance lasted for a long time, it later failed due to the following. And that is now reason one. Superiority of the British forces. I may not waste a lot of time here. People have already given it. Superiority of the British forces. And of course, we are saying they were well trained. You couldn't compare them to the NANDI. Then there is that one there. The British had considerable manpower, i.e. they hired Sudanese, Nubian, and Zulu mercenaries to assist them. We've also talked about the Zulu, by the way. We were all were talking about the Ganda, the Sudanese, but we have also seen here the Zulu were also part of the group that assisted them. Indeed, the Zulu were warriors. If some of you are doing South African history, you must be knowing that a man called Shakam had a very powerful army. He trained a very powerful army that that protected the Zulu for quite some time. And the Zulus defeated the British at one point. I think that was 1879. They defeated them at the Battle of Rwanda, you know. And anyway, we are not looking at that, but we are trying to look at warriors. You understand? And after defeating the Zulus now, the British used them in the fight against other groups of people that were fighting. So we've talked about Sudanese, Nubian, Zulus, and so many other groups of people that assisted the British. We have the British having large quantities of superior weapons such as cannon guns, machine guns, bombs, unlike the NANDI inferior weapons. So you are seeing the different types of guns they were using on top of the Maxim gun. Of course, the NANDI could not fight these people with their inferior weapons. Then we have this point here, the killing of the NANDI leader Koitarel Arab Samoy greatly demoralized the NANDI, and they were defeated. They were defeated. So the point is killing of their leader Okoyot, that supreme leader Okoyot. Then we have this other point here, that the poor economy of the NANDI could not sustain a prolonged war. Indeed, the economy was not so strong for them to have a war for a long period of time. Then we have the British were highly determined to crush the NANDI. So the point here is determination. Determination. And once one is determined, I believe one has got to be successful. So that is determination. Then we have this one here, that the NANDI lacked support from their neighbors, such as the Maasai, the Rias, who instead collaborated with the British. Yes, one person gave us this point here, that they didn't have support from the neighbors, and this greatly affected them. We have this other point here. The resistance was partly weakened by outbreak of natural calamities such as drought. Yes, someone has given us this point, and we have already gone through this point because I even talked about it when it was presented. Then we have the harsh climate accompanied by the outbreak of famine weakened the resistance. Yes, harsh climate together with the famine, all these ones affected the resistance. The NANDI lacked a united command. Someone gave us this point. A united command, since each clan or area of residence fought in separate groups. So centrally, they never had a central leader. You understand? And they were decentralized. They were fighting in different groups. Yes, we said to an extent it assisted them, but at the end of it all, it didn't help them forever. That is why they were later defeated. A moment, let me see whether someone has got something from the chat here. Okay, I think there is nothing much. Okay, we are looking at this other point. The Nandi highly depended on superstition rather than science, i.e. the prophecy of Okoyot. Yeah, superstition. The prophecy of Okoyot Kimunyole is what we are talking about now here, who prophesied the coming of a white man. You understand? And they were like, but our leader at one time prophesied that there will be the coming of a white man. Now the white man has come. What can we do? There is nothing we can do. You understand it? So superstition also contributed to the defeat of the Nandi. So we have the Nandi lacked a dependable natural defense barrier. Hence, they were direct targets of the British. Yes, one candidate contributed this. One student gave us this point that they never had a dependable natural defense barrier. The trees could be burnt down. Remember, we said they were hiding, in the forests, but the British could burn down the trees. So that means after the burning of the trees, then they had nowhere to hide. You understand it? So that is another reason why the Nandi were easily defeated. I also have this: the Nandi lacked constant supply of arms, such as guns, hence mostly depended on inferior weapons. Yes, inferior weapons, the arrows, the stones. You can imagine someone is using a gun and you are using a stone. You understand? So at the end of the day, yes, we are saying the Nandi were easily defeated. We talked about getting guns from the Arabs, but they were not enough. They were not enough. We have this other point here that the British used the scorched earth policy, which weakened the Nandi. Yes, again, one mentioned it, that they used the scorched earth policy and the total destruction, destroying each and everything. This so much weakened the Nandi. We have this one here, that the British were reinforced by the Swahilis, Maasai, Ganda, and Sudanese mercenaries. Yes, reinforcement is the point now. Reinforcement. They were reinforced. They could get support from the Swahilis. They could get support from the Maasai, the Ganda, the Sudanese. We also talked about the Zulus. You remember that. So that one contributed to the defeat of the Nandi after the 11 years of resistance, 1895 to 1906. You understand? The Nandi lacked good military tactics, since they went forward in mass groups. They lacked good military tactics. Of course, we are saying they could come out in big numbers, and someone with a gun could just shoot and then kill everyone. So they were like, they didn't have they didn't have a commander that maybe this group goes first and then the other one goes in later, so they could attack at once and then they could be killed at once also. So we have this other point: the signing of treaties with the Europeans led to the defeat of the Nandi. Yes, the signing of treaties. And some of these treaties were treacherous treaties where the Nandi were deceived that we are now, signing a treaty of protection. You see, for us, we've come to protect you. And at the end of the day, they were giving away what belonged to them. So all this one weakened them. So we have this other point here: the long period of resistance, i.e. 11 years, left the Nandi exhausted. Yeah, someone gave us this point here, that the Nandi were exhausted. Indeed, they were. And we are talking about fighting for 11 years. But again, remember the other time I was also emphasizing that however much we are looking at 1895 to 1906, I remember telling you that the fights were there, but on a small scale. The moment a white man stepped his foot on the Nandi land, the Nandi started to fight against this white man. So we are looking at the peak of the fighting. The peak of the fighting is between 1895 to 1906. You understand? So the point is, these people were exhausted. They had fought for so long. So this is our last point. And I believe, plus what you've given me, we have a lot. Okay? plus what you've contributed and what I've given you, yes, we've got a lot, enough for us to pass. So immediately after this lesson, we are going to be getting these notes, okay? So don't worry, I am going to send the notes in your Google Classroom, so wait for the notes and write them down. Okay, so let me see whether people have got okay, Joshua, I don't know what is happening. Okay. Okay, so for now, ending here, I can see our time is up. So we are going to be meeting again next. Okay, we are ending here for now. And I don't know whether people have got something to say from the chat here. I think there is nothing much. Okay. If there is, okay. There is nothing much in the chat here. And okay, so we are ending here for now. And have a good day and a blessed week. Bye for now.